Transurfer and the Transurfing Curious. My name is Renee Garcia and this is TransurfingTV. I actually had somebody come on the Facebook group the other day to ask a question, and they emailed me and said, hey, I've got a question to ask you. And I was like, could you please direct your questions to the Facebook group? And he came on the group and he said, hello, I have a question for everybody. I'm a Transurfing Curious, and here's my question. And I just fell in love with that. I thought that was so cute. I'm a Transurfing Curious. Like it's a way to identify yourself. Anyway, today I'm going to be talking about state of conflict, because I feel so many people are in an active state of conflict. And as transurfing presents to us so clearly, with such lucidity, whatever your state of being is, that energy, the essence of that state of being is going to be pushed towards your mirror, which is your world, right? Your world. And that exact thing is going to come back to you in form of your highlighted sector of reality, your layer of reality. So if you're living in a state of conflict, or if you are in a state of conflict in your being, you are going to be living in a state of conflict. You are going to be experiencing conflict in your life and problems in your life with people and in your environment and yourself. And this is no way to create your reality, right? This is the way not to reality transurf. Before I get started though, remember to like this video and comment below. My world is taking care of me, to enter my daily giveaway for my reprogramming stickers, y'all. And Reality 2.0 on Teachable. Check it out, link below. Join us on Facebook. Even if you are a Transurfing Curious, please join us on Facebook to ask your questions. We love them there. And yes, so today, this video was really inspired by a podcast that I listened to, and the podcast host quoted a lyric in, I believe it was a Talking Heads song, where he said, nothing is worth fighting for. And I was like, oh my God, it's so true. It is so true. Nothing is worth fighting for. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't make headway with something, right? That you can't resolve something, that you can't find solution, that you can't evolve out of a challenge or a problem. It just kind of means that fighting is not the way to do that. There's other ways of creating progress, right? But the fighting thing on a much more personal level, because I know I could go on some rant of how fighting's not the way to end, stuff that's going on in the world. But transurfing is a modality that brings it all back to you first, right? You deal with you first, and then your state of being will create a layer of reality. And if there's enough people that are living in that similar state of being, those layers of reality intersect with each other, and that becomes collectiveness, right? That is why the world is, well, I don't want to say it's in tatters. I think the world is doing the best that it's ever done before. But I know collectively a lot of people would say that the world is in tatters. And the reason that the world is in tatters is because people individually are in tatters. That's the sector of reality that they are highlighting via their state of being and their conflict with their environment or others or themselves. The mirror presents back more of the same. And as millions and millions and millions of people contribute to this, to creating their own individual layer of reality, these kind of superimpose on each other, and then before you know it, this is kind of like the collective consciousness, right? At least that's one way of looking at it. Obviously, if you're a transurfer, a hardcore transurfer, you're going to be like, wait a second, that isn't the case with me, right? That's not how I see it. And that's not how I see it either. I'm saying for the most part, I mean, I've had people in my life say, oh, things have never been so bad. And, you know, my grandfather constantly pushing me to watch the news. Oh, you need to be informed. You need to be informed. I'm like, yeah, well, more people are watching the news than ever. More people are dialing in to that version of reality and running with that version of reality. And the external problems in our environment continue to get like bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, or at least perceived bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So what's it really doing, right? Is it really helping things if I tune in? Or is it better that I retract? I do not approach my world from a state of conflict, and I create a different layer of reality for myself that's conflict free. And then I encourage and try to empower others to do so. And then I try to get that pendulum going of that reality rather than the reality that a lot of people are running on right now, the state of conflict reality, right? So here's kind of how I see it. Here's how the transurfing perspective kind of, you know, if you want to look at living in a state of conflict, how transurfing breaks that down of what it is you're actually doing. So remember that, first of all, when I say state of conflict or being in conflict, again, this is you being in conflict with your environment, your external environment. Maybe this is you not liking the politics, not liking certain things that are going on with COVID, or your political party isn't the one that's in power, or you don't like the ways of other political parties or whatever. This is you being in conflict with external circumstances that you kind of have no control over. Now again, my grandfather would be like, you absolutely do have control over that. You can vote. Yeah, but outside of voting, what am I going to do, right? What am I going to do? This is an illusion that pendulums like to feed us, that if we really get fired up on Facebook and cuss at somebody because they don't believe what we believe, and we, you know, attack people because we think that they're this way or they're that way, and then doing that, you're sort of helping the cause. It's not the case. It doesn't actually do anything. Again, it's actually making matters worse for the collective, because then you are living in a state of conflict and you are creating that layer of reality. And when enough people do that, then that becomes the collective, right? So again, you can be in a state of conflict with your environment, politics, you know, religion stuff, COVID stuff, whatever it is. You know what it is. You know the ones that trigger you externally. With others, this is you being in conflict with, you know, I used to have a pretty serious problem with always being in a state of conflict with my boyfriend at the time, right? Always not seeing things from a unified way, or going about the relationship that even if there wasn't like some very pressing thing that needed to happen, like I don't know if I would create my own problems in the relationship just so I could be in a constant state of conflict, because that's the only way I knew to have a relationship. And at a certain point I realized, oh my God, I'm just doing this because this is the state of being that I've grown accustomed to, right? There's actually no reason for me to be initiating conflict all the time. It's kind of bullshit. And I called myself on it, and now I've just chosen to not have conflict in my life. And boy, is it refreshing. And then finally, yourself. You can have conflict with yourself. This is you, highlighting the qualities of yourself that you don't like. This is you choosing to focus on the ways that you're not doing something right, or things that you perceive not being to the standards of others. This can be any sort of self-esteem issues, anything about yourself really that you are challenged to really accept. So these are the ways, these are the things that we remain in a state of conflict about, right? So quickly here, a David Hawkins quote that I absolutely love: acceptance is the great healer of strife, conflict, and upset. It also corrects major imbalances of perception and precludes the dominance of negative feelings. Everything serves as a purpose. Humility means that we will not understand all events or occurrences. Acceptance is not passivity, but non-positionality. Okay, this is really about, dropping importance on needing to see things play out in a specific direction for you to feel that they're right. This is about advantage. This is advantage right here. What he's saying is advantage. That if you can accept and believe that everything serves a purpose and everything is actually in fact perfect right now, exactly the way it is, then this acceptance is the great healer. This is the thing that is going to resolve strife, conflict, and upset, right? It's not you pushing to your mirror that you're going to be the facilitator of rage to show that you don't like something about the world, or you don't like something about others, or even worse, you don't like something about yourself, right? Well, that's a whole other video. But humility means that we will not understand all events or occurrences. So again, when a person is saying, oh, politically, this just isn't right, and I know the right way, and this is the way things need to be. This is the anti-humility, right? This is you really putting yourself in a position of inner importance. Remember, balancing forces here. This is you putting yourself in a position of inner importance, and this is you putting creating external importance in your environment by you deeming yourself to know what is in fact right, and then enforcing your will upon your environment towards your mirror. This is you putting conflict, importance, and demands towards your mirror. And remember, all of it comes right back at you, right? So all those people right now that, and I'm sure none of you could say that you're one of those people right now. I hope you're not. Transurfers should know better than to be doing this. But the people that are doing this right now, that are living in a state of conflict, that have too much importance of their own beliefs or their own virtues or how they should see the world, how they think the world should be, and then placing those demands upon the world, this is all going to come back. And I guarantee the people that are doing this stuff right now are not doing this and then turning around and being like, hey, you wouldn't believe this amazing thing that just happened to me. I'm on the wave of success, right? This is all lower track stuff. This is you essentially creating an induced transition for yourself, balancing forces, coming in and knocking you down to some of those lower lifelines. Because remember, your essence, the essence of your state of being is what your world is going to give back to you. And I'm sorry, people that are engaged in active conflict, importance, and placing demands on their external environment, that is definitely not high frequency stuff, right? So again, nothing is worth fighting for. Nothing is worth fighting for because lower track, lower effectiveness, lower reality, in my opinion. Of course, I'm open to other people having a different opinion, but this is how I see it. So this is the antidote. My world takes care of me. Everything is as planned. Things are working out perfectly and will continue to do so with ease, the sticker. So this, when you believe this is exactly the state of being that you live in. This is the essence of the state of being that you're in produces this. And this essence, right? Well, I said that wrong. This creates a new state of being, and that essence is what you project towards your mirror, and you get more of the same. So when I hear of people getting all fired up about political things, all fired up about COVID things, all fired up about the state of the world or what's going on right now, I'm like, my world takes care of me. Everything is going according to plan and things are working out beautifully or perfectly and will continue to do so with ease. That essence that I'm projecting, I'm not living this reality, right? I'm living this reality. I'm not getting this because this is an entirely different product. And I believe that this is our natural state. This is pendulum influence. This is us getting wrapped up in external events that do not suit the individual or their intentions. And again, this is a direct invitation for balancing forces to come in and wreck you. So check yourself before you wreck yourself. And I believe that this is definitely the way to go. This is why I believe in these stickers so much. This is my key to keeping myself very much tuned in to what I want to project to my mirror, because this is how I want to live, right? I don't want this, I want this. It's pretty simple. So let me know your feelings about this one, everybody. Are you living in a state of conflict with anything, with your environment, with politics, with other people, with yourself? And how can you pull yourself back in and start trusting this a little bit more? And I'll leave this quote down below in the field below so you can read it if you maybe, I don't know, want to take a screenshot if you're challenged to exit a state of conflict and you want to get a more beneficial essence projected to your mirror so you can start living a better layer of reality. So let me know your thoughts, like, comment, and thank you so much for watching my video. Bye guys.